Hi everyone, welcome back again to the practice of non-greed in business, one of our active knowledge series. We're working our way through the competitive engine. We're in the domain of focus. We have looked at in chapter 8 customer focus, chapter 9 capability. We're now stepping into chapter 10 and we're looking at strategy, and you can see how these three elements fit together. Strategy is an expression obviously of focus and capabilities. But I just want to unpack that a bit and just begin to talk through that. So today in chapter 10, we're looking at strategy. Strategy expresses the relationship between your customer focus and the capabilities you have built to deliver value, competitive value, into those customer needs. It is an outcome of this relationship. It doesn't exist independently. Strategy doesn't sit over here and is created independent of customer focus or capabilities. It emerges, evolves from that. However, it has an origin and has a linkage. Your strategy is an execution of purpose, the purpose for which your business exists. Here is my purpose. Coming out of my purpose is an expression of my customer focus, acknowledging my capabilities, and I develop a strategy to allow me to deliver on the purpose and head where? To my vision. The vision which I have set. So think of strategy in this context. Strategy is not designed to deliver profit outcome. Sustainability is important. Sufficient surplus income to achieve what I need to achieve is critical. But I don't sit there and say, okay, last year I earned this much, this year I need to earn that much. How am I going to do it? Profit is an outcome of competing well. Of competing well in delivering a competitive customer value greater than anyone else can. So I say strategy is simply an expression of how we're going to compete in the marketplace, to achieve our purpose, to deliver value, to head towards our vision. But there's clearly not necessarily anything simple about competing effectively and about strategy. But the goal, the challenge I'll put there in your strategy process, we'll talk about that word a bit later, your goal should be to develop undefeatable strategies in building a great business, and nothing less should be acceptable. So if I throw that to you, I would say, what's going to make you undefeatable? And you think of your sporting analogy again, it's going to be an amazing team which has got the skills to outcompete anyone else in the field and has a great coach probably in place. Coming across? A great leadership team which is crafting a team in the business which just can outcompete anyone else. Always ahead. So that's what strategy should be doing. So let's just talk about some of the things we're going to touch on today. Strategy is a journey of growing that capability to outcompete anyone else in your organization. I want to talk about that journey. I want to unpack strategy. So we're going to talk about strategy, and I want to talk about what I think good strategy looks like. I want to talk about seasons and life cycles and how you have to think about those when doing strategy. I want to talk about strategic thinking, because we have this assumption that leadership thinks strategically. I think we need to define what that looks like. And I want to just touch and finish off on your competitive story as an organization, which becomes quite vital. So that's our agenda for today. So let's start with the journey. I believe an organization, a business, there is a journey for it to begin to think and act strategically. We should not assume that it is automatically there. Typically it's not. So what is this journey of being able to think and act strategically? Well, there's a number of steps in it. One, you have to have a purpose for your existence. That purpose needs to be founded in customer need. Two, you have to have a quest, the vision of where I'm going to. This is who I am and why I exist. This is where I'm going to. Three, you have to make a conscious decision of how you're going to compete. What is your competitive posture? How are you going to go into the market you've chosen and compete effectively? In considering the implications of every decision and action on the competitive posture. So number 4 is strategic thinking requires me to say, okay, we're thinking of doing this. How does it impact my competitive posture? Is it aligned with purpose? Is it taking me to vision? 5, I think that's 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I have to be looking for opportunities to improve customer value. The customer value which I deliver. My continuous better everyday mission is to continually improve that. Next, 6, I have to look for signs. of change and things which are moving in the marketplace to see what impact they may have on the value, but to take advantage of the opportunities they present. I have to be leading, not chasing competitors. My competitors are over there, let them be, because I am out here and they are trying to catch up with me. Next, I have to have a mantra, and that mantra should be better every day. Wherever I am, better every day. Last two, I need to learn how to engage the people who work within and with my business, your employees, you like that term, with a purpose and a vision. A purpose which they feel righteous about, and a vision which they say, this is my quest, this is what I'm going to. And I need to be using my competitive engine to bring the real and full potential of my organization to the forefront. Strategic thinking, strategic acting requires all of those points to be there. So once you have learned to think and act strategically, I think there's sort of some steps. One, I begin to think and act strategically. That list we just went through, which I think there was 10 points on. Next, once I've done that, I can then begin to look at real growth, real competitive growth, and begin to compound where my business is going to, because I have the purpose, I have the vision, I have a competitive posture, I'm thinking strategically, and I'm working that. That's the second stage. The third stage, once I've got that, is my competitiveness then becomes decisive. People can't keep up with me. They can't catch me. They don't know what I'm doing, because my competitive engine is firing on all charges, and I am just walking this path forward in delivering my vision. I need to think and act strategically. I need to understand real growth and focus on that, not be chasing profit results. I need to build an organization which is capable of decisive competitiveness, my competitive engine. They are the 3 steps which I see on the journey of strategy. Okay, so let's talk about strategy then. You've got a sense of the way I define it. And because I would say, I think strategy is one of the lost arts of leadership. It's been cast at a certain level. It's become highly political. It's become regimented. It's focused on short-termism. It's focused on profit as my purpose. There's a lot of self-interest in it. I'm trying to protect my patch. So I put that to one side and say, I think a lot of the way we do strategy at present time needs to be rethought, tossed out and started again. Strategy should be a process that unites and inspires the entire business behind a vision and a goal and a purpose. A single vision, not a single goal, probably multiple goals, but a single vision, a single purpose and the goals. If I get this right, if I get my competitive engine working, then the focus and the alignment which I can bring to bear on my purpose will take the business, catapult it in the territories I never thought possible, never dreamed of, never knew I could get there. Business strategy is how you're going to compete. It's about direction, alignment and focus to allow me to go from purpose to vision and always continue to grow. Profits will be there because I'm competing effectively. That's the first point on strategy. Strategy is continuous and emergent. It's not set and forget. You can't say, well, this is my strategic plan for the next 3 years and let's just go on with this. Yes, we'll revisit each year to see if things change. No. Strategy is not static. Strategy is not in a document to put on the shelf and never looked at. Strategy is a living organization which is living a purpose with a real sense of where it's going to, an aspiration to get there, a commitment to get there, and an organization which lifts potential to the forefront. So the way you think about your strategy process becomes a key element of your success. It's continuous and emergent strategy. I need a process which allows that to occur. I need a process which allows everything to be brought onto the table and considered. The whole organization needs to understand how strategy is created and be engaged and involved in it at some level. Everyone should follow the process. And the key outcome which you should be saying is, have I united and inspired my entire organization behind purpose and vision through my strategy process? Strategy is not about command and control. So you hear these expressions, excuse me, the board sets strategy, not the management team. We'll tell you what's going to happen. Politics. Get rid of it. The answer is, have I united my organization and every person in it behind where we're going to? Have we set a vision which is a quest? Am I building upon the purpose? Do I have a purpose? And am I running an organization which brings a real competitive potential to the forefront? So let's think about that. Strategy starts with leadership. It fulfills a purpose. It has a vision, a quest. It defines what success looks like. It recognizes changing seasons. It incorporates the stage which we're in as a business into its strategy. It drives capital value. Think back to capability and that presentation. It tells a story. It has a team which can deliver. It has a team which wants to deliver. It has a team which is committed to deliver. And has a team where the full potential is released, unleashed, and a competitive engine within your organization is working to do that. This is strategy. Strategy starts and finishes, strange enough, with conversations, because that's how you're going to engage. When you think of business strategy, you think of conversations and engagement. Thinking, analysing, exploring, playing, dreaming, arguing, understanding, agreeing. These are the sorts of conversations you're having. And what I find is through a process which is touching on these elements, you'll find there's a new language emerges. There'll be images, there'll be metaphors, there'll be connection built. Possibly to start off with the leadership team and the board, but then flowing through the entire organisation and engaging the entire organisation, lifting up as well. And that language creates a unity because we're all part of it. We all know what it means, and we have our own little code about where we're going to and how we're going to achieve that. Conversations. On conversations, you often find that you've got the board, you've got the management team, those involved in strategy, and then you've got everyone else. It's like 3 levels. And the board's sort of saying, okay, what are we going to do to increase our profit, to deliver the revenue which we need? And then go down to the next level, management, middle management, saying, well, how are we going to do this? Where are the resourcing to do it? Then you come down to that participant level, and they're saying, why? Why? Why are we doing this? And if we reverse that order, we will turn around and say the question of why is the most important question, because if why is not answered, I'm not in it. The how becomes a way of working our way through, but it's empowered by the why, and what is very mechanical and is not really that important because it's going to be evolving and emerging. So when you push strategy from the top down to the bottom, it often doesn't bite because the why crafted at the top doesn't work down the bottom. If you gauge the people at the bottom, excuse that expression, people at the bottom, and bring it up, you're now engaging and you are capturing and you're bringing the people who are going to be delivering on board. What, how, why? But there's an element missing there. I think the most important element. I know there's been a lot of language, and I'll talk over the past few years about the why. But the why is an expression of who. Who am I? Why am I doing this? Because of who I am. And who is an expression of purpose. I exist for this purpose. Why am I doing this? To fulfill my purpose. Why is this your purpose? It's who I am as an organization. So strategy in its most quintessential form is how I intend to compete. The questions of what and how and natural outcomes, they'll emerge after having sort of sorted out how we're going to compete. The why should be sitting there and very clear because the why is an expression of who. I'm doing this because who I am and the way I think and the way I act. And that often goes back to the founder. And as we've talked many times before, the origin story is sometimes lost and you've got to reconnect with that and re-express that. And it can never, ever, ever, ever be expressed in terms of size, profit, capital value, any of those things. Who I am and what I'm doing, the why, is an expression of this is my purpose, this is why I exist, this is the journey I'm on. So think about those expressions, what, how, and why, and who, and how they fit in your strategy process. Success always rests in who I am. If you're looking for someone, I use this analogy quite often, to employ an exceptional person in your business, you may look at their experience, you may look at the qualifications, you may look at the capabilities, but the one thing you actually want to get an insight on and capture hold of, who are they? Because who are they will determine what they can achieve. Who are they shows me their motive. Who are they? And their motive shows me where they can go to. As an organization, who I set myself as is fundamental, and we need to make sure we nail that in strategy. The market opportunities of today and tomorrow and the future thereafter can only be won if the business can compete effectively. They will only be recognized and emerged, that's these opportunities, in a competitively fit business. That is a business which has got the competitive engine firing in it. The energy that a competitive business requires to be formed will only exist if the right why is established, but it is coming from the who we are, which is my purpose. We need to make sure we nail this. So let's think about those few words about strategy, because often strategy processes have got absolutely nothing to do with that at all. But this is what I need, a competitive team who are out there seeing opportunities and delivering on them and are committed to do that, not just following instructions from some paper. I just want to touch on seasons and life cycles because often we ignore these. Popping up on the screen is the life cycle diagram which you've seen. We've spoken about this before in terms of the previous presentations on maturity of markets. All I really want to say about this is you need to think about where your business is on this, because it determines in one sense the path I need to map to take me to the next stage. Strategy is often about stepping stones. Where am I today on my life cycle, in the strength of my business, in the competitive strength of my business, in my pathway to delivering my vision? What do I do next to show where I need to go to? So if you don't have a sense of where your business is in that growth cycle, you shouldn't be plotting a strategy because you don't know where you need to go to next. All businesses experience seasons and life cycles through their existence, and these should be recognized, acknowledged, and addressed by leaders. Seasons, as I call them, are just short term. We've really gone through a significant period of growth, introducing new products and services based upon a new technology. We need to settle that down and have a bit of a rest to re-energize ourselves to go forward. Life cycles are more macro, the more deeper. It's building that long-term path, that compounding to delivering on our vision. So I just want you to think about that. If you're in a phase of strategic planning, then reflecting on and understanding seasons and where you are in a life cycle, it's critical. It's going to strongly influence what's possible and what should be done in your business and where you need to build. Seasons, life cycles. So I want to touch on strategic thinking also. There's an assumption a business leader can think strategically. How often many business leaders are so consumed in the day-to-day responsibilities and they're trying to manage what's here, they have no time to lift up their head. They're not looking to the future. They're not looking to where things could be. They're overwhelmed with just managing what is there. And there's an analogy, there's a rule which basically says, if I am 1 degree off where I need to go to, then by the time I get there, I'm going to miss the target. And if you think about the compounding and growth of a business, if I miss a change in a need, in a value proposition, in something happening in the marketplace, and I continue going here, and everyone else goes there, then what happens? Think back again of that diagram, your life cycle. Well, opportunity misses me and I just come down to gone. So having people having the capability and the capacity and understand what strategic thinking looks like becomes vital, because as each year goes by, if they haven't, I go further and further off course. And you come back and you say, I'm founded for a purpose, I have a vision, I'm competing around customer value, let me recognize the need of that customer, not just for today, but for tomorrow and every day thereafter. Let me understand the value I'm delivering, and let me see how I can improve that. Insight, empathy, imagination, creativity, yes, technical skills, ability to understand technology, a capability to deliver, a momentum to deliver, imagination, creativity we've mentioned, yes. And this is actually a blending, because the capability in your business to do this is going to sit at the coalface and at other parts of the business. And I'm not going to say sitting at leadership, because often leadership are there for command and control. They're not there about creating the future. If you have a business which is still has its founder present, then I'm pretty sure the founder will be there about creating the future, because they created the business with a vision, with a purpose, and they'll still be expressing and excited about that. But often the future is known at the coalface because they can see the changes which are happening, but strategy doesn't engage them, doesn't pull that out, it ignores them. And we get tied around thinking about revenue and profit, and we're trying to do this I was going to say piecemeal, it's not a good way to say it, but a piecemeal effort of putting strategy together just to shift those. And we're not seeing the changes which are occurring, nor do we have an imagination and creativity to create the future. You need to be looking to that future. Strategic thinking is vital, and you need to be building that. And remember, we talked about at the very beginning the stages of strategic thinking. Seeding the thinking first, thinking strategically, talking strategically, acting strategically. Then growth will come, then growth will compound, then I'm beginning to build a business which is truly competitive. Success in business comes from building upon what has gone before, not wasting anything and compounding on everything. However, if leadership is not conscious of where we're heading, or if the business doesn't know what we're building, then I can be wasting resources and effort day after day after day after day. Strategy, direction, alignment and focus from my purpose to my vision with a competitive posture which allows me to outcompete everyone else, and the competitive engine defining my DNA and the way we act, who we are, so we are competitive. In business, your strategic thinking represents the ability of your leadership team to plot the correct course and ensure you're not tracking off course, and to build the organization which is necessary to deliver that. So, just to try and summarize that up a bit, there's another level we haven't gone to. I've talked about 3 levels. A business leader must firstly teach and lead the business to think and act strategically. See that expression? Teach and lead the business to think and act strategically. Not just them, but everyone through the organization. Secondly, they have to develop an understanding and appreciation of what real sustainable growth is and how to attain it. This building upon building upon building upon building, aligned with purpose, heading towards vision, with a competitive posture, which I'm strengthening. Thirdly, we've got to grow and craft an organization that really understands what it takes to compete effectively. What is a competitive team, competitive organization looking like? In my expression, it is the practice of non-greed in business, in organizations, and that is the competitive engine working in a right character. And they have to use that and develop that to release the passion which can exist in your business. Thinking strategically, real sustainable growth, competitive engine, competitive fit. There is a 4th stage which emerges from this. This is really coming back into the classical Chinese thinking, and it's what I simply call formlessness. And if your competitive engine is firing, this 4th level of formlessness begins to take shape, where I am just so focused on the customer, their need and the future and where it's taking to, I am continually stepping the organization out in reaching that. I see it, I know it, I'm passionate about it, the entire organization is coming with me, we're going to it, and everyone else is standing around saying, I have no idea what they're doing, and I don't know how they're doing it, but they just keep stepping away from us. We can't compete with them, we can't keep up with them, we keep looking to see what they're doing and trying to chase them, but it's just not there. Formlessness. That is what ultimately we want to achieve from our strategy. Maybe a bit esoteric, if that's a word, but that's where you want to get to. To help you do all of that, you need to have a competitive story. And it's an interesting question when you go to a leadership team, and if you have leaders, ask them, what is that competitive story? It needs to be succinct. It's not going to be an elevator pitch because it's probably a bit longer for that. But can I talk about my competitive story? Well, what's it consist of? Purpose, motive, need, vision, design, posture, rewards, engine. Let's talk through those. Purpose. What's the reason for your business's existence, and what impact, righteous, moral, will it have on the community in delivering that purpose? What's my underlying motive? Is it about profit and greed and self-interest, or is it about compete against myself? Need. What is the customer need I'm seeking to fulfill, and why is that important to the customer, but to our community and the community's well-being? Vision. Where do I see this going to, and why is that a place we just have to reach? the impossible vision we're seeking to achieve. And what would that do to the world we're in when we get there? Design, the organizational design. How have we structured ourselves and how do we run ourselves to deliver? Momentum, delivery, imagination, creativity, some of the elements out of competitive engine. How we actually designed ourselves to get there. Posture. What's the value we deliver to our customers? What is our winning posture? What do we go out with and fight every day? And there's a language which we may talk about later in another video presentation. What are my simple guiding principles? What are the things I need to make sure everyone does every day? And if we do, success will be ours. Rewards. How do I define success in the organization? Everyone who works in our organization should feel successful, that they've achieved something each and every day, that they're prideful in that and they are rewarded from that. Rewards do not sit at the top tier of the organization. That is merely profiteering from the efforts of others. Apologise for anyone I've offended, but that is the reality. Everyone should be rewarded for what they put in. And the last thing you come down to, my story tells me about my competitive engine, who my business will be to succeed. Purpose, motive, customer need, vision, organizational design, competitive posture, rewards, competitive engine. This is my story. It's not necessarily a short story, but it's not a long story. It's got to be a succinct story where I talk through who I am and where I'm going to and how I'm going to get there. Does your strategy give you that? Can you express that? If you can't, you need to draw it up. Just closing out. Strategy, strategic thinking. It's a journey on delivering on purpose and striving to fulfill the quest you have set. Strategy, a journey on delivering on purpose and striving to fulfill the quest you have set. Your competitive strategy, that sort of that expression, that competitive posture, it's an outcome. Focus, customer focus, capabilities. Where am I sitting in my chosen marketplace? How am I going to nail that? It is my competitive posture. That enables me to outcompete everyone else. It is evolving and emerging and never static. It allows me to deliver customer value. So I'll say that again. It allows me to deliver customer value no one else can compete with. It focuses on my capability and brings those to the forefront. I can outcompete anyone in delivery of my purpose and achievement of my vision. This is what strategy does. This is what your strategy needs to do. Pretty challenging, isn't it? And if you think about the process you've got in place, probably mundane, static. Oh, we don't have to do this again, do we? And it's political, it's negotiating. It's not strategy at all. So again, I thank you for your time. I think we could have been in chapter 10. I'm losing track of these chapters. But I thank you for your time listening to me speak about strategy. It was very brief, it was very simple. I actually do have a book sitting on strategy play. I may do a video series on that, which unpacks the way in which you develop strategy a lot more, but that's some distance away. All the best. Thank you very much for your time again. Be well.
Hi everyone, it's Sally here. I work with Richard. You will see coming up on the next 3 slides. Firstly, a URL link if you are interested in purchasing Richard's guide to the competitive engine, titled Compete, which is a 274-page full-color guide in either printed or a digital PDF format, or both if you wish. Secondly, a URL link to Richard's library of some 500 articles on the various elements of the competitive engine and more that you can access freely. And thirdly, there is an email address for any questions you may have. These are great resources, and I commend them to you. Thanks everyone for joining us today, and I hope to see you again soon.